8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
International superstar, Miss Mother B. Rocker.
You are now tuned in to Butter Bee Rocker on Transparency Talks Podcast.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Transparency Talks Podcast. I am your girl, Butterbee Rocker. Listen, we have an amazing show for you today, but before I bring on my special guest, I want to thank you guys for supporting my film, Finding the Perfect Guy. It is streaming on 26 platforms right now, so thank you for your support. Also, tickets are still available for our 1-year anniversary at BBR Indie Films, which is going to be on November 13th, Wednesday, November 13th. We want to see you in the building. We have an amazing lineup of panelists, some extremely great films and filmmakers. So we want to see you in the building. Make sure you bring your headshots, your resumes, and be ready to network, okay? So without further ado, she is the president of Women in Film and Television Atlanta and the owner of Watson Media Ventures. Can you guys please show some love for Robyn Watson? Hello, Diva. How are you?
Oh, hey, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm still, rocking to your intro. I was like, what an intro. Okay, got me all hyped up, so I'm ready to go.
Thank you. I actually created that beat, so thank you. Well, I appreciate it. I'm glad that you liked it. How you doing?
I'm good today. As you know, we just celebrated our 50th anniversary gala, Women in Film and Television Atlanta, on Saturday night at the Georgia Aquarium. It was great. We had an amazing time. We had an amazing crowd. And the event was everything that I wanted it to be. So I hope guests like you had a wonderful time. Hope you did.
I did. I had an amazing time. So
Good.
since you just brought up WIFTA,
Yes.
can you tell everybody what WIFTA is?
All right, I'm gonna take off my glasses for this one.
Okay.
So Women in Film and Television Atlanta, it's one of 46 plus chapters of Women in Film.
Okay.
We from around the country. And then there's also Women in Film and Television International Board. I happen to sat on that board for a couple of years. Very interesting seeing filmmaking, globally. So it was great. But Women in Film and Television Atlanta, the second oldest chapter right behind LA. And so LA, Atlanta, and New York are the top three chapters, of course, for, where the biggest production is and entertainment. But there are lots of other chapters. And basically we highlight and support and represent the women in the film, television, streaming, we call it the entertainment space, especially here in Atlanta, because we touch so many different women. And our membership, we're a membership nonprofit, and we span across the entertainment industry. So we have directors, producers, writers, but we also have hair, makeup, costumers. And so our membership, we're 530 plus members, another 1,100 like supporters and sponsors. So we have like 1,600 people on, I'll say our mailing list who support us every month. We have member meetings monthly and do mixers. And, because this year was our 50th anniversary, we decided we were going to just really show up in the community, right? Because entertainment is such a strong stronghold here in Atlanta. We just want to show up. So we partnered every month with lots of different organizations, just like I said, so we can show up and show how successful and how resourceful and how important we are for the entertainment community here in Georgia.
That is awesome. So what inspired you to become involved with Women in Film and Television?
So it's a funny story. So I've been with the Women in Film organization since about 2009.
Okay.
So I lived in New York. I've just been in Georgia the last 7 years. But I was on the board of New York Women in Film and Television. And how I got on that, I was like a corporate PR exec. I did corporate communications. I was at Time Warner Cable at the time. And I met a woman at an event who, started telling me about, yeah, she was a filmmaker. And she told me something like, oh, I need like $5,000 to finish my film and it would change my life. And I remembered I was in this room and I'm hearing this conversation and, I'm a corporate person, right? So I'm like, I got like $8,000 worth of pens, lanyards, and like, mouse pads in my office. Imagine if there was like somebody who could just kind of give to this woman, because she said this film, all she needs to do is edit it and it'll change her life. I didn't know much about producing and filmmaking and really being a creative at that point. And so I remember going back to my office the next day and telling my boss, I was like, listen, this woman's part of this organization. Like these women, they just need like small amounts of money, right, to finish a film, like, and it could make an impact in a life. How can we kind of give back? And I remember my boss looking at me. She's like, "Well, you have a discretionary budget. You're executive here. Use your budget how you want to use it." And so I remember I wrote a check for. At the time, it was NIWIFT, or I want to give back to these filmmakers. And so that was kind of like my first foray into like, what does this Women in Film organization do? And then from there, I was hooked. I became part of the organization. I got on their board. I was their VP of corporate communications. I stayed on their board until I moved to Atlanta. And then I quickly wanted to jump in here. And I was a board member for a little while. Then I stepped off for a year or so. Then I got back on it with her right as COVID hit. And then I got the presidency at the end of that year. And so I've been the president kind of working through COVID and then figuring out. And then through all that, not only is it like give back, but I gained so much. Like I found my creative like spirit and juice. So I started getting involved and wanting to produce and got a couple of films out there.
Awesome.
Getting out there, figuring out because I knew the business side of it from like distribution and corporate communications. And now just seeing that Atlanta is like the hustle capital, like people just want to work and create content and get it out there, get it distributed and kind of work together and figure out how to do that. I love the atmosphere here.
Yeah. You caught that bug.
Caught that bug.
I understand, I come from the music world.
Mhm.
And in 2019, when I fell and had to have surgery, torn meniscus, torn ACL, I dislocated my shoulder. That took me off the road for an entire year. So it was like, okay, you're going to have to figure out what else you're good at, because I have been on the road just singing full time since 2007. And so it was a big, change. And it was like, okay, what else do you know how to do? And I'm creative. I've always been creative. I'm always coming up with different things. I had wrote a play before and I wanted to do some series. So I wrote 13 episodes and I was going to put it on YouTube and turn it into a web series. But when I found out the cost, hey man, when I found out right. I said, okay, yeah, we're going to have to turn this into a feature film, because I could get people to support me from the music standpoint, but to now say, hey guys, I'm a writer, I'm a director, I'm a producer, believe me, they're like, I ain't never seen you do none of that. So no.
But it's interesting that there are more, women that I'm meeting that are like you than not, right? Like more women who started somewhere down the line and all of a sudden, like you're a filmmaker and you really got to look at people and like, oh shoot, you really are a filmmaker, right?
Yeah.
So I love the fact that especially women that I'm meeting are showing up as creatives and they're finding their creative juices in all these different niches under entertainment. So I love that. And that's happening a lot these days.
Yeah.
So,
I saw a lot of people with the gala. That was one of the things that really impressed me, because you're in a room and everybody in there is a creative doing something in the industry. And I'm like, yeah, this is nice. I really, really enjoyed it. What do you think is the biggest challenges facing women in the entertainment industry today?
It would be good to say, we're not getting the jobs or we're not getting that. So the industry is challenged right now, right? And so when I think about kind of like all the work we've done to kind of get women to a different, a better place, a different place, a more, be more represented, And then, COVID hit, right? Okay, you got out of COVID. And then, the strikes hit. It's sad for me because it's not, that we can't discount that the work we've done, but it's the industry as a whole is just kind of not back to where it's supposed to be. And so my concern is that women will be the ones, that are feeling that. And then when things get back and, back going, that women will be kind of set back. And so
Mm.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed that all the work we've done to just kind of get to a place, won't create an issue for us. But the industry is just, not where it's supposed to be right now. And it's just a challenge for a lot of people. And, look, Georgia, what's number 4? Georgia spent $4.1 billion in entertainment spending last year. We want to get back to that place because that means there's work and there's business and people are working. It's been tough for my members, we do have men members, right? So I'm hearing from our women members, and I'm also hearing from our men members that, things are just, people are hopeful that it'll get back to that place. And so,
Right.
Again, sorry, I have these blinders on when it comes to women. I just want to make sure that when things get back, we are still in that good place, great place, and that we could soar even quicker and higher than we have been able to in the past.
Mm-hmm. How does one join WIFTA?
So you join go to our website, WIFTA.org, and join. And, look, another thing I tell people is follow us on social media, right? Because our website is great. It tells you kind of like the basics, but what we get jazzed about is when, we're posting things and people see pictures of us and they see how we're like having fun, creating these great experiences for our members, giving back to the entertainment community, learning from the community. I mean, everybody knows entertainment industry is all about relationships, right? And so just to like know somebody, like how we met. Like you met one of my board members who was like, you need to show up to this event. But before you even showed up to the Women in Production Summit, I had heard about you, gotten emails about you. And so it really is about like relationship building. So follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. Go to WIFTA.org, join us. Like I said, our website shows you like, here's what it is. Follow us on Instagram and social media to really get a feel of how we show up in the community.
Absolutely. So how do you see the future of women in film and television, and what are your goals for the organization?
So, like I said, fingers crossed. When the industry gets back, our members are working. Like I said, Georgia spent a lot of money last year on entertainment. I
Right.
want to see all our sound stages full, right? Because what that means is not only is the industry thriving, my members are working. People are happy. The community gets to be, the entertainment community gets to be happy and really going out and like supporting each other. I'm hoping that happens, sometime early next year. Like I want to roll into 2025 doing that. But if not, I just want to be able to, on the flip side, provide if there's additional resources that our members need, right? If it's, training, financial resources, like, when it was right after like COVID was over, we partnered with LA and New York, and the 3 chapters did a Hire Her Back campaign. And it was a $350,000 campaign where any of our members can like fill out an application and say, I need X amount to do this. And it was whether you need it for personal or I need, $2,500 just to, finish this film that could propel my life. Like, so we
Right.
had, and those are the kinds of things that I want to continue to do. Even when things get better, I want to make sure that we set ourselves up for when things are not so great. Like we have resources, we have ways to kind of help our members and to keep the organization going.
I love it. I love it. So, okay, you're a new member with WIFTA and you want to become active. How do you do that?
First of all, show up. Every month, like I said, we have a virtual member meeting every month. So as soon as you're a member, you'll start getting those newsletters when all our stuff is in there. Also in the newsletters, you'll see where we get, we partner with Discover Dunwoody, DeKalb Entertainment Commission, or Women in Music is having an event. Like we get invited to a lot of stuff. I get invited to lot of stuff, and I say, well, I'm not coming unless my members can come, right? So
Right.
we get invited to a lot of stuff. So show up to events and network. And when I'm network, I mean, like don't just, get a business card. I mean, this industry is different. You got to almost like nudge people and make them kind of remember you. So stand out, make sure you introduce yourself. On the WIFTA.org website, if you go into About Us and our board members, all of our email addresses are there. So if you meet us or you meet a board member, you're not sure who it is, pick one of us to reach out to, right? My board members are pretty responsive. And just show up and then raise your hand to like volunteer for the gala. All our volunteers have to be members, right? Because that's a perk. So volunteer for an event we will have, or ask if you can like shadow. The flip side of that is, do you have a project that you're doing? Like you're ready to screen with Kay Singleton for her project. She came to us. She was like, I have this project. I really want y'all to take a look. We did like a screening focus group kind of talk back so she can get feedback on a project. We like to do that. We like to hear what our members or the projects that you're working on and how we can help. Look, I get a lot of calls like, I have this project, I need funding. That's a whole nother side, right? So there's Robyn for WIFTA, and then there's Robyn. I run a entertainment consulting business. And it consists of, kind of helping with, film finance or, marketing your film or, focus group. So my lines between WIFTA and my company are kind of like blurred because I use WIFTA to help some of my clients do some things. But then, I'm a consultant. That's my like kind of day job. But it's good that I meet people and I'm like, I know where I can help you, whether it's on the WIFTA side or on my consulting side. And so get close to us. All of my board members have day jobs in the industry. They're doing something. Get to know them. What are they doing? How could they possibly help if, you become a client of theirs? Just got to get involved. You get out of WIFTA what you put in. If you just want it on your thing and show up on the member meetings just so you can see something, that's fine too. We love our members. We love sharing information, resources. You grab what you need. But if you want to be like an active member, reach out to us. We're always open to, doing some things with our members.
I love it. Okay, so let's talk about Watson Media Ventures.
Okay.
What was that pivoting moment that inspired you to start your company?
So when I left corporate,
So we are talking to Miss Robyn Watson, President of Women in Film and Television Atlanta. Okay, you back?
Oh, you lost me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It paused.
I don't know why it paused, but I was just talking. So I got laid off from my job at Time Warner Cable in 2012. And right after that is when people are like, oh, you're not in corporate anymore? I need some help with this. And I, need some help with that. And so I had to put my money somewhere, right? So I started this consulting business, Watson Media Ventures. And it started out as I was helping another nonprofit kind of get themselves together. I did some work with New York Women in Film and Television to kind of revamp the organization. And then people just started coming to me about, how do I market this film? Who can I talk to? And so I started this business, and it was really good because it was fun, because it was a way for me to really connect with like my women in film side, but also use kind of all the experience that I had as a corporate executive. And so I did that, and I had some jobs in between. I went back to, when I moved to Atlanta, I went back to corporate, and I always stayed involved with women in film, which always helped me continue my Watson Media Ventures. It was always a way to kind of funnel work through my organization, and through my company. And so now fast forward, I left my corporate job again in last October. So it's been a year of just kind of doing my business and consulting and figuring out and meshing things with women in film, and just being more involved in the entertainment industry and kind of like building that and using my experiences has been great for me for Watson Media Ventures. I will say, and people call me crazy, I do miss the corporate world, the corporate entertainment world, because that was the business side of it, like the distribution side. So I did PR and communications for distribution. So
Mm,
I was part of the team that launched HBO Max, right? We were the comms team that worked with the distributors, the Comcast, the Verizon Files, the Hulu's, like launching HBO Max. I love that kind of work because it was a great mesh of who I was like as a corporate communicator, and then also the entertainment distribution side, which helped me like talk to clients about like, listen, this is how Netflix does it. Like, this is how you get your project on HBO Max. So it's corporate is good for me because I think all my worlds blend together, and I do
right.
miss kind of that being part of something bigger. So I do miss corporate in that sense. But in the other sense, no, I don't miss corporate. It's kind of being independent and having the time and doing things at your own pace. So that's good as well.
Right. I understand that
You get
completely.
it? You
Yeah.
kind of there's a
Yeah.
side of you that misses it, but not. So
Yeah. I think when I was working in a corporate job, I was working as a fleet manager at Home Depot
okay,
corporate, and then I went to a pharmaceutical company. So it wasn't even in a field that I enjoyed,
right,
it was just
right,
to pay bills. So
right,
I think if I was in a field that I really enjoyed and that, like you're saying yours gave you a mixture of both,
right,
I think I would enjoy that. So
right.
So, how do you balance the demands of a successful business with your commitment to WIFTA and other industry organizations?
Whew, it's hard.
Yeah.
If you talk to my husband, he thinks everything is about WIFTA with me. He's like, "Oh, is that WIFTA? WIFTA?" And I'm like, Well, no. Well, and again, it's because I think my worlds kind of have
Well,
overlapped. And I will admit I need to do a little bit better of like kind of keeping them separate because they are separate, right? I mean, there are things that kind of pull them in. I'm 1,000% committed to the Women in Film organization. So I feel like I'm always showing up there first when that's the opportunity. Like if it gives me something that I can give back to like my board or my membership, I always show up for that. The flip
right,
side of that is like I run a business, so I need to kind of figure out how to show up as that. And then I also have to like show up as like Robyn, right? Like I like just the hat Robyn.
right.
There are days I want to just go to entertainment thing and just like go. Like I want to enjoy like a film and just kind of sit back without having to be like, okay, put on that creative. Oh, that would be great. Oh, maybe we should do a screening of this film, or maybe, well, who's the director of this, right? So, it's a challenge that I love. It's a good problem to have. I say to myself to
Yeah,
try to figure that out. Yeah,
yeah. That's definitely a good problem, but I get that completely. It's days that I do not want to be butter.
right.
I
I don't.
don't.
I mean, and I'm not like famous or anything, but people recognize you and then they want to ask
Yep.
questions. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that right now. So
Yeah.
um,
What advice would you give someone looking to break into the entertainment industry?
be ready, right? Be ready for whatever it is. Um,
Hmm.
like I said to you earlier, it's good. You might start off on one path, but there's something that takes you down another path, and you've got to be okay with kind of experiencing it. Because it'll tell you what you don't want to do in the industry,
Yeah.
and but it's good to have the experiences of all things.
Yeah.
Just be ready. It's fun and it's shiny when it's good, right? And I wouldn't say it's always bad, but there are lots of challenges even when
Mm,
it's good, right? And so you just got to be ready and be strong, but also be resilient when it comes to the industry. Take the criticism about what you're doing, what you're not doing great, and figure out how to do it better. So when you move on to the next thing, you've got that like mastered, and because you will move on to the next thing, because you're crazy to sit in one space in the entertainment industry.
yeah.
It's good to kind of have lots of titles and be able to move, and like you, You're sitting there, you can't say, okay, I can't travel the way I want to. So what am I going to do? Get into something else. And
Yeah.
then the other thing is be prepared to meet people and get to know them. Like you got to be able to show up. You can't like want all these things in the industry and not be able to connect with people and to show up if they need you or they want you. You got to be ready. It's a fun industry that can swallow you up if you let it, but it's a
Mm.
fun industry. If you want in, get in. There's ways to get in. Just get in, and just be ready because it's always a roller coaster. When it's good, it's
Wow.
good. When it's bad, it's not horrible, but it's a roller coaster. It's definitely a roller coaster.
Yeah. You just dropped a lot of nuggets right there. Wow.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. What do you consider to be the most important qualities for success in the entertainment industry?
Like I said, resiliency. You got to be able to, you got to be tough skin. And again, I'm not scared. I don't want to scare anybody, but you got to be able to be like, oh shoot, this recognize that this might not be for you. Cause not just because somebody told you, but, and then be able to like pivot. So got to be resilient,
Hmm.
be, tough skin, but be sweet, be ready to kind of work with people and deal with people.
Yeah.
And it's work. I mean, to get from an idea to a film is work, right? The
Yes.
film screen or on a screen streaming platform, it's work. And so you just got to be ready to work. And
Yeah.
but I always say this, work, I loved corporate so much because I always had fun in my jobs, right? I always found the fun, whether it's you know, a team you're working with or a group of people. I always found like the fun in my jobs, even when
Hmm.
wasn't particularly fond of like the work I was doing. I
Hmm.
found the fun in like I always joined like business resource groups or employee resource groups. Find
Right.
people who are like you. And most corporations have these organizations where you can be with people who are like you, whether it's Black, woman, Asian, whatever it is. Like find your group because that helps you kind of get through
Hmm.
the day of work. It's the same thing in the industry. Find women, men, find people who are working like you, working at your pace. That's why our membership is great because we'll have literal producers and then writers and then hair and makeup people who are kind of at the same stage in their like career and they'll
Hmm.
just mesh. They could be working on like 10 different projects, but they'll just mesh. And then so that's the beauty of kind of having an organization that you can turn to because you'll find somebody like you and that helps you kind of like get through your work or it motivates you and it elevates you. And so I challenge people, find people like you to kind of love what you're doing, even though
Yeah.
you love the work. Love what you're doing because of the people and the atmosphere.
Absolutely. Does WIFTA provide opportunities or if someone is looking for a writer or a director or actors, does WIFTA provide that type of resource or announcements?
Yes, so we can put that in our newsletter, but also when you become a WIFTA member, you go into on the website, create a profile.
Hmm.
So and put in their information is like, Robyn Watson, you making this up because I'm gonna make me sound good. Robyn Watson, producer extraordinaire, produced these, 5 films that are on, Amazon Prime, Netflix, Tubi, blah, blah, blah.
Hmm.
You as a member can go in and be like, oh shoot, and pull up by keywords like there's a producer, like I'm interested. I saw that film and reach out to them directly. Don't you don't need to wait for us to introduce you at a member meeting or
Right.
whatever. You have the resources right there to reach out to that person directly. We love when we get emails saying, hey, I'm looking for, hair and makeup. Yeah, we'll put that in the newsletter and then, people will reach out to you directly. But we also say, don't wait for us. Y'all have the opportunity to kind of connect all on your own. So yeah, we make it easy for you. And then you should make it, you can post on our website, like you can post right in on the website
Mhm.
to members. You can tell us, you can post on our social media and tag us and say, hey, WIFTA, I'm going to be in Atlanta. I need, 3 hair and makeup people this day. Like people respond.
Wow.
So just got to kind of use the resources that are already there.
Yeah, 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 for sure. What's your opinion of the rise of streaming services, and do you think that it's impacting the traditional television and film industry?
Definitely impacting the traditional television and film industry. And so I say, again, worked in corporate, and I remember years back there was something called TV everywhere,
Hmm.
and it was a corporate kind of distribution thing, and it was all about providing content to people where they want it, when they want it, how they want it. And
Hmm.
so fast forwarding streaming service, everybody got a phone, right? Everybody's on that phone. Everybody has like a computer or iPad. Apps are everywhere. And
Right.
so I just think that when I hear people say, I can't get a distribution deal, I always say to my clients, okay, so what kind of distribution deal do you want? Do you want to, be on broadcast TV? Do you want to be on NBC Universal? Okay, that's one kind of way of thinking. Do you
Right.
want would you sell your content, right? Would you sell your film and just be like, I got my money back for this film. I can pay those bills, pay off my investors, and move on to the next thing? That's
Right.
another decision. Do you want it on a platform? Okay, where do you want it? I talk about like Tubi, and people like, how do I get to Tubi? Well, you get to Tubi a different way than you get to YouTube.
Hmm.
Then you get to Netflix.
Right.
You have a need an agent, or you might just need an aggregator. And
Right.
so I just think there's options because people want options. And yes, it definitely impacts the traditional way of distribution. A theatrical movie versus one on YouTube or Hulu, or Tubi. Um, but I don't think that's a bad thing, because I think I have that in my head. Give the people the content where they want it, when they want it. And so
Right.
I'm
Right.
I'm I'm personally am all for it, but yes, it does disrupt, and it's very different. And if you're thinking traditional, theatrical, or you're thinking, network or cable TV or whatever, there are way more options than it used to be. And you
Yeah, I
should.
definitely agree. I don't see it as a bad thing.
Mhm.
Only thing I don't like is that you don't have a true number, because you're relying on someone to tell you what the numbers are
Right. You
for
don't
your
see
business.
those ticks on Tubi. You get a
Correct.
report saying, hey, this is what you did. Here's what your check is, blah, blah, blah. Right. So in that respect, it's not as reliable.
Yeah.
You have to be more trusting. But again, when I talk to, like, when I do strategy work, and I'm talking to filmmakers, content creators, I was like, what do you want to do? What would success look like for you? and,
Right.
and get that up front, because that's how I help them build kind of like a strategy plan.
Yeah.
What do you want? If you want to make film, you want to get money, make a film, sell it, get that money back, go on to the next thing. I know content creators like that. If you
Right.
want to see your film on, multiple platforms, fine. I know people who just want to do films. They kind of want to stay under the radar. They do the film festival route. They just
Right.
want to get those awards and get those, cons where they get those awards. They can post on social media. That's all they care about. Their content creators are all over the place. It just depends on who you want to be and what you want your content to look like and where you want it to land.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have a so since are you a one man show with your company, or do you have a whole team that works with you?
So it's me and then my husband. But
Okay.
then when things come up, I do hire. Like, I have a young lady in New York. I did some work, did some self promotion at Essence Film Festival. So I brought a friend of mine from, Dallas. So, like, it just depends. Because again, my background is in corporate community. I still do write, comms plans and presentation decks and all that stuff. That's totally me. I don't get anybody else to do that. But then
Right.
when it comes to, I do sometimes do events and help out with events. Yeah, I might have to get like 4 or 5 people. I use my kids. I got grown kids. I mean, put on the Watson Media Ventures t-shirt. Let's go. We gotta go. So it just depends. So
Robin, we got a lot in common. I use my
right,
boys all the time for my work.
hey, it's not free labor. I pay. You got paid, or you'll get paid. Don't you worry about it. So it just depends. But yeah,
Yeah.
Basically, me and my husband run the company.
Okay. And if someone wanted to hire you, how do they get in contact with you?
So you can reach out to me. My website is watsonmediaventures.com. And then you can hit the contact button and it'll go to my whatever, or Robyn at watsonmediaventures with an S.com.
So you said Watson Venture,
Watson Media
MediaVentures.com.
Yes.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm posting that because somebody also asked me for the
Okay.
email.
Email address. And it's wifta.org.
I posted that one already. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What role do you see AI and technology playing in the future?
So I tell people, it's here. My view is, don't fight with people about it. Work with people to figure out how to work within it. It's not, if the more, I think the more we're positive about AI, the less it'll impact the like human capital piece of it. Just figure out how to work with it. I mean, there are things that happen in life. The minute you start fighting and putting up that, you're losing ground. You're losing the battle, right? Work with it. Okay. So we know as an industry, we don't want AI replacing script writers, replacing our talent, the resemblances, the voiceovers. We don't want that. So how do we work within that? And I was quoted in the newspaper about this too. I'm like, it's here. So don't fight with it. Figure out how do you protect yourself, your industry, your union, whoever you are. How do you protect that by working with it? Because I feel personally, you give it less power when you work with it than against them.
Mm-hmm. Makes a lot of sense. Definitely. I want to bring it back to the WIFTA gala that I just attended at the aquarium, which was amazing, by the way. Um, tell everybody who y'all featured and everything there.
So the WIFTA gala, it's our biggest fundraiser, and so essentially we, it started out is we're having the gala because we want to raise money to give scholarships back to deserving women who are in the entertainment industry. And so it was that. And then on top of that, so we honored 4 college students, 2 from Kennesaw, 1 from Clayton State, 1 from Georgia State. And we go out, we go to the film, entertainment, whatever, and say, hey, we're giving away these scholarships. Tell us who the deserving students are. They come back and give us a couple of names. We go through bios and whatever, and we pick the students.
Right.
That's what we love to do because we give back, and then then we've got kind of like our ambassadors for the next year, right? So the gala is always at the end of the year, but it starts off our year. So our 2025 ambassadors are the 4 students who we'll use them next year. We'll create some content with them. We'll have them, show up and kind of talk about with them. They'll be our ambassadors. So we love that. But then we also, and we've done, and this is something we've done in the past, and we've done it differently, different ways. But this year, we picked 4 women who have kind of been at the forefront of their things in their world, right? And so we had Kay Singleton, who was an actor and producer, Lee Thomas, who's the deputy commissioner for Georgia State, in charge of the tax credit. We had Melissa Simpson and Molly. Why am I losing her name? Sorry. Anyway, they started Film Impact Georgia, which is a huge resource, right? If you go to Film Impact Georgia, these 2 ladies created an organization that really kind of gives independent filmmakers all of these resources on how to do things. And so we, as WIFTA, we often send our members like, you want to know about this, you want to know, go to Film Impact Georgia, go to their website. They have a lot of information. And so for us, we look for people who are kind of doing it, the women who are kind of doing it, and honor them. So this year, it was a good balance of, 4 women who have been killing it the last couple of years, despite challenges, 4 students who are killing it in their programs, and just honor them. It's a time for us to kind of validate like who the women are in the industry. And
Right.
so we did that with the up and coming women and the ones who are killing it. And then of course with the, as an organization, like spotlighting, like we've showed up in the community and all the people sitting in the audience are the people we connected with, like you, who we want to continue to do work with, you know,
Yeah.
and want to help. We want to help you, but we also want to bring you into our fold so you can help the organization and help our membership.
Oh, I definitely plan on becoming extremely active. So you're gonna be seeing me a lot. I promise.
Which is fine. We got plans for you, girl.
Yeah,
So
I got plans too.
okay, great,
I plan
great,
on
great.
being there. So uh I want to take this time to thank you so much for being a part of Transparency Talks podcast. So what's next for you? Okay, y'all just did your gala. What's next for the organization? Is everybody chilling for the holidays or y'all got more work that's ready to happen?
We got, you know, do a little postmortem in November. Definitely a holiday event. We like to just have something small, have people show up. We want to say happy holidays to our members. And then, you know, we get ready for 2025 and what that looks like. We set you know, our VP of programming, Lynetta Griffin, she's going to start planning what 2025 looks like for education and, you know, whatever, you know, my whole executive committee. I'm going to call out my board. Our money people, you know, Katie Womack and Randy Brooks, they'll figure out, you know, Randy will figure out who we need to tap into sponsor, and Katie will tell us how much money to spend. We
Right.
have a membership who, you know, she'll figure out like what we need to do to get the website going. You know, what do we need to do to? She'll work with programming to say our members want this kind of event. Let's figure that out.
Right.
I have our treasurer who keeps us honest. Not a treasurer, our secretary, Shelby Jackson, who keeps us honest. She'll keep us in line and say, get this ready for 2025. Here's what we need to do. My VP, my right hand, Cordelia Hunter, will figure out how we're going to make sure everybody has what they need to make sure that WIFTA thrives through the year. And then I have board members, you know, BJ Arnett, Shelly Smalls, Angie Bones. Like we are a working board, as I said at the gala. I want people to understand that. So I'm going to tell it again. We are not like New York and LA. We don't have a CEO. We don't have a staff. We don't have a, you know, office building, office space. We are a scrappy working board that does this just because we love the entertainment industry and we appreciate all the work that women are doing in the industry here in Atlanta. So we'll be, you know, tapping into, this was our 50th. We got our sponsorship up, but we're going to be looking for more sponsors so we can keep the organization running.
Yeah.
Amplify things, make it a little bigger, because that's really the goal. I feel like the bigger the board is and the organization and our infrastructure is, the more that we can provide for our members. Because trust me, we're doing a damn good job with limited budget. You know, we have great partners when we have them, but you know, we could use a bigger budget. We could use like more help, and because that's more to give back to our members, and that's what we want to. That's what we want to do.
I love it. One of the things that I saw at the gala was that it was just an outpouring of support for one another and appreciating one another. So I was sitting there like, oh man, I'm loving this. So
And that's, look, if we don't have any money, we're still showing up. Like if we don't have any, like we do our events, it might not be the grandest of events, you know, like our gala celebration, we would have loved to have some, you know, have to be star-studded and, you know, people coming in and, you know, at the end of the day, I'm just going to be blunt. We didn't, you know, people show up sometimes because of budgets and we didn't have that. But guess what? We were star-studded because we had all of our stars together.
Right.
Supporting each other, loving it on each other, you know, applauding all the work that, you know, is being done. Another big thing for me is that we had like a short program because we wanted to make sure we left time for networking and like we wanted that time for, like, you saw somebody across the room, go introduce yourself. I challenged everybody, meet two people, because that's really what it's all about, especially here in Georgia. Like, you got to know somebody in this industry, get to know them. And then, you know, and people are not standoffish here. Like, everybody wants to know, well, what are you doing? How can I jump in on that? How can I help you? So that's the big thing for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate talking to you today. You have dropped so many amazing nuggets. I know all the women and they also accept men should be
Right.
going to wifta.org right now to join. I mean, she just sold me all over again.
And shoot me an email. I'm president@wifta.org. That's my email address. Shoot me an email if you have some questions. And we'd love to like be able to have as much support as we can get to keep this organization going.
I love it. Okay. Well, with that, everybody, we are out of here and we're going to talk to you guys later. Thank you so much, Robyn, for your time and for pouring
All right.
into us. We truly appreciate you.
Thank you.
No
Have a good
problem.
one.
All right, guys. Talk to you guys later.
All
Peace.
right. Bye.